A very special edition of Xperience Sessions right here on indigomusic.com. And I'm joined by someone, an artist, in fact, who's got an optimistic voice. And, he's known for his rootsy, bluesy, and utterly natural music arrangements. I'm talking about the one and only Bruce C. Stevenson. Bruce, welcome to indigomusic.com.
So nice to be with you. Thank you.
And we were talking about the background where you're sitting right now. I've never seen one in real life, but at least now on Zoom, I can actually look at those records and, oh boy, they're just so good to look at.
Yeah. I wish these are all the awards won by my producer,
right?
Bill Drescher.
Absolutely. It's just so nice to look at that. Now, Bruce, your first, solo project, which was Thanking Jupiter, the return of Jet Swindle, and the new one as well, which you've released, has a lot of planetary, the astronomical theme to it. Did you ever want to be an astronaut?
Well, it is kind of like that. I've always had that interest in our place in the whole cosmic wonderment,
Right.
And so the idea that the planets were affecting as I learned more about how they affected the growth of the universe and everything, it was just great to be able to write some songs that were directed with that and just drawing people's attention to it.
Fantastic. And you're also a veteran of the Bay Area band called the Cowboys. How different is it, to play in a band and going solo?
It's very different. There's no escape. With a band, of course, you can feel a brotherhood, and when you're on your own, it's kind of a lonely thing. But then again, my producer Bill Drescher is one of my closest friends in life, and it's always been a huge part of making me feel at home. And since he worked with the Cowboys as well, we have a good artistic relationship.
Right, absolutely. And let's talk about your producer, Bill Drescher. How did you guys meet, and what's the story behind your friendship?
Well, it's a funny story because we were introduced back at a time way back in the old days when I had I was in a punk rock band.
Right.
And a mutual friend of ours introduced my music to him, and that's where it started. At that point in time, he wasn't interested too much in punk rock, but right. Fortunately for me, I got better. So we started working at a later date after that band, and when the Alien Cowboys had done a couple of session CDs, and Bill liked them and so he figured it was worth it. And at that time, Alien Cowboys was an instrumental rock band, so we were not using a singer or any vocals. And it put us in a category of ourselves.
Right, fantastic. And your brand new track, Between Venus and Mars, if you read between the lines, it's basically Earth. What is this track all about? What is the inspiration behind this track? And how long did you take to, come up with this track?
Well, it was a good experience for me because as I was kind of dealing with kind of a change in artistic direction from normally I'd written a lot of songs in the past that were, you might say, relationship oriented tunes, and this was, I wanted to get outside of that realm into this other idea. And I'd always heard about how men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Right.
And I kind of thought that it was an interesting point in my life to talk about that, but to speak above it not in terms of of us as people or sexually speaking, but just in between Venus and Mars as a physical reality, that we are all best, I think, our best people when we're a combination of those two extremes and not necessarily either one. So it's kind of like between Venus and Mars would be somewhat like an equivalent of what I'm thinking of a yin and yang combination to make a whole.
Yeah, and it brings in the peace as well. I mean, when you talk about
yes.
Now, Bruce, is there one artist, probably living or dead, that if you would love to, or you would have loved to collaborate with?
There are a few, and it's funny because they range. Now that I'm at have had enough of an experience in music to appreciate many different forms aside from the ones that I particularly play in.
Right.
It's really kind of difficult because it's like things like Frank Sinatra, but Tony Bennett, right, and people like that, and they were singing of a different time, and of course of a lot of times of relationships, yeah, and they weren't working outside that too much. But gosh, I would be honored to work with any of the greats, whether it was the Beatles or whether it was Led Zeppelin or Harry Nilsson, even. Yeah. Robert Palmer was another favorite of mine. The band Little Feat, the band, with Levon Helm and the rest of them. I was lucky enough to grow up in a period of time where what we know as sort of pop or pop, contemporary rock or classic rock, all those people were just ahead of me. So I was always a very eager listener and follower of word lyrics. They were lyrical patterns they were developing. Musically speaking, I was very influenced by Pete Townsend.
Okay.
Because I think basically I would consider what I would consider myself is more of a rhythm player than a melody or lead player. So I always liked Pete Townsend's rhythm playing. I actually liked Jimmy Page's rhythm playing quite a bit too. And most people my age, I grew up on the Beatles, and I was fortunate enough as a young kid to be able to go to England and experience a little bit of Beatlemania when I was young. So it was kind of fun.
Fantastic. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for taking some time out and connecting with me. All the best for your brand new track, Between Venus and Mars. We're going to be airing it right here in India, in Bangalore, and I hope to see you soon in India.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. Take care.